Everyone, Alpha Eagle here again. Welcome back to my channel. I pray you're all doing well, and may God bless you all. Before we begin, be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. AirrickDebunks did something that shocked me. He made a video titled Plagiarism, False Strikes, and the Total Collapse of Credibility, OtterlyNoah, in which he actually condemned OtterlyNoah for his plagiarisms and false strikes. If you don't know who OtterlyNoah is, well, he's very similar to AirrickDebunks, actually. He's a left-wing commie, degenerate, queer, furry, autistic, lying, disingenuous, straw-manning, defaming activist. In other words, your typical left-wing scumbag YouTuber. He has a series of videos that he calls Hunting Grifty Bears, and in these videos he goes after any content creator who isn't as far left as he is, and he tries to discredit them by defaming them, by falsely accusing them of being all the left-wing buzzwords. In other words, if you complain about race-swapping a character, he calls you racist. If you complain about a female character emasculating a male character, he calls you a sexist. If you complain about turning a straight character gay, he calls you a homophobe. Again, the typical evil left-wing behavior. Anyway, recently OtterlyNoah was caught plagiarizing other left-wing content creators. Now here is a clip from a video titled The Worst Plagiarist on YouTube by Ryle Kittenhouse.
Vasquez starts the shot as an amorphous blob before the AI starts to put a mouth on her cheek.
In this shot here with Vasquez, it tries to read her face at first as an amorphous blob because it doesn't recognize her face is a face.
And Tom Arnold, a spectacle to behold in his prime, looks to be in the early stages of Emperor Palpatineism.
This shot here makes Tom Arnold look like he's turning into an amalgamation of Emperor Palpatine and Donald Trump.
This year kicked off with Captain America, Brave New World.
No, this year kicked off with Companion, Better Man, and Dog Man.
This year kicked off with Captain America, Brave New World.
No, this year did not start off with Captain America, Brave New World. This year started off with Companion, Better Man, and Dog Man in January of 2025.
So, OtterlyNoah is an obvious plagiarist, which is bad, but to be honest, I don't really care about that as much as some of the other bad things that he's done. Since all these leftists repeat the same talking points anyway. Like I said, they all just falsely accuse people of being racist, homophobic, sexist, bigots, and then they just hope that their audience is dumb enough to believe them. So that is just left-on-left violence to me, so I actually kind of enjoy it. However, he also was caught false flagging. Now that's much worse in my opinion. Apparently he manipulated the artist who drew his otter avatar character. By the way, the otter is wearing a Tron suit, and I happen to think that Tron sucks. Now, no offense to any Tron fans out there, I just was never able to get into it. He convinced his artist to false flag a video that criticized him simply because he didn't like it, and it happened to use his avatar in the thumbnail. Now, let's get into the AirrickDebunks video on the whole OtterlyNoah situation.
I don't know OtterlyNoah that well. I've been on stream with him one time, and we follow each other on social media.
YouTuber OtterlyNoah, a self-admitted plagiarist, has been caught lying to several people about a copyright strike that his rival received. He received a copyright strike for this video criticizing Noah, but Noah was not the person who made the claim. The claim was made by a person named Deuce Marionette, which you can find in this tweet here from Nicholas Diorio, where Nicholas said, "Hey," and tagged Noah. A small YouTuber named Callisto created a video essay critical of you, and it got copyright strike from what appears to be your artist. Do you know anything about this, and can you assist in getting it resolved? To which OtterlyNoah said, "Oh shit, Deuce Marionette is my artist. She made my images I use in my videos. I'm wondering if she claimed that video if it popped up in her feed." Wargaming Dad said, "I will say here that this girl, as in the artist, is wrong, even though it's her art. People using that art in a thumbnail to make a video about you does not go against copyright."
That's absolutely true. I mean, as long as you're transforming it, even if you're just putting writing over top of it or whatever, if you're using it in a thumbnail for commentary purposes, it's fair use. It is an abuse of the DMCA system.
I'll give AirrickDebunks credit for two things here. He is right that using someone's art in a thumbnail, as long as it's transformative, is fair use. And number two, I've made several videos criticizing AirrickDebunks, and I've used photos of him in my thumbnails, and he has yet to copyright strike me. In fact, I don't think that anyone that I've criticized have copyright struck me. I've only got copyright notices from the big companies like Disney and Warner Brothers or whatever. I've never gotten them from smaller YouTubers like AirrickDebunks here. Continuing.
Brush it off saying, oh, he's busy, he'll do that. But the Wargaming says, oh, it's okay, I found her. And then Noah started to panic. And the reason being is that Noah has been full of complete and utter dog shit. He was exposed on Dicker's stream for telling his artist about Callisto's video and convincing...
So I did see the stream with Dicker's, that I saw the clip where Noah just straight up admits that the video, that he was behind the flagging of the video, going after the video, because he didn't like the video. First he said it was a racist video, and then he said he just didn't like it. I saw that part. That part I do know.
Her to report Callisto's video to try and avoid there being any trace back to him.
I originally made Deus aware of Callisto's video, and that's why she struck it down.
So you made your artist aware of Callisto's video. Why?
Because I thought it was racist.
Am I right in understanding that you were the one who got Kinoflex and Callisto to post publicly that you had nothing to do with the copyright strike? Did you ask them to post that?
No.
So you wanted to copyright strike it, but you knew that your channel name would be on there, and so you got your artist to do it for you.
So I'll man-to-man. Did you want the video taken down because it was a 2.5-hour hit piece that criticizes you, and that was the only reason?
Yes.
Okay.
Did you orchestrate that? To which Noah admitted yes. So this entire time he was just full of complete and utter shit, and you probably shouldn't listen to anything that he ever says ever again, or let him anywhere near your homework because he might copy it. But it should also...
The plagiarism stuff was very shocking. The allegations of plagiarism. When I saw that, I was like, okay, this isn't good. And yes, if you take someone's video and you copy what they're saying almost identically, you take the clips out of their video and you use them in your video while you're saying the same thing they're saying, yes, that would constitute, in my opinion, as plagiarism.
And I have to admit that AirrickDebunks is right about this. One thing OtterlyNoah did was plagiarism. Again, while I think it's bad and I condemn OtterlyNoah for doing so, I don't really care about that as much as it's just leftists copying leftists, and they just parrot leftist talking points anyway. Continuing.
Then we get to the point where he's actually striking channels, using other people to strike channels. This is where I have the biggest issue, and it's because I think there's a lot of... The fallout from this is much larger than just what Noah did. Like, in a vacuum, him doing that, if he were by himself and he wasn't part of a community, he wasn't in a group of people that do this stuff regularly, if he wasn't part of that the debunking community, in a way, in a vacuum, it would just be Noah, and who would give a fuck? It'd be a lolcow thing. Like really, honestly. Nobody would care. But there's a couple...
We finally get to what Eric really cares about. He just admitted that as far as a morality issue, he doesn't really care that OtterlyNoah plagiarized other leftists. He doesn't even really care about the false copyright stuff. What AirrickDebunks really cares about is that OtterlyNoah is part of their lefty, commie, lying, defaming, disingenuous, bullying, activist community, and he is making them look bad. AirrickDebunks doesn't care about the bad things that OtterlyNoah did, since they all do bad things. No. As we shall see, what Eric really cares about is the harm that OtterlyNoah did to their community. Continuing.
But there's a couple of things that rules of combat, I guess you could say, that I would not break, and one of them is copyright striking criticism. I think that's one of the worst things you can do in all of this. Because if somebody wants to take one of my videos and criticize me, they can do that because I do it to other people. So it would be hypocritical for me to go after somebody criticizing me in a video. Can I respond to them? Yeah. Can I make videos about them, replying to their criticism? Absolutely. All of that is fair to me. But it would be hypocritical for me to go and strike someone's channel and get a video taken down because I didn't like what they were saying.
Again, I give AirrickDebunks credit here, since as far as I know, he hasn't copyright stricken anyone for making videos criticizing him. At least he hasn't false flagged me. Continuing.
Of course, there's things like doxing and stuff like that. That's a different conversation. That's a completely different situation.
Here is where Eric is being a bit of a hypocrite. He's part of the Phantom Initiative, and they have doxed people before, so AirrickDebunks is being very hypocritical here. Continuing.
If you're just trying to get a video taken down because someone said something about you you did not like, that opens the door for all of that to come back on not just Noah, but everyone in this space. All of us. Because now that Noah has done this, if this kind of blowback affects other channels, it's because of the fact that he started it.
See, like I said, AirrickDebunks is not concerned so much about what OtterlyNoah did. He's really concerned about how this will affect his community. AirrickDebunks is covering his own ass by throwing OtterlyNoah under the bus. Continuing.
Most of the people that were talking about Noah or me or Ant or any of us, it's just a thing like we understand that we're going to critique the content. But if somebody wants to talk about me in a video, that's part of the game. That's part of the way this works. It's part of the system. Like, you have to be able to allow somebody to, even if it's in bad faith, even if it's dog shit, you have to be able to let people criticize your content if you're doing that to their content. Now, fair enough if that's not what you're doing, if you're not a debunker and you're not in this community. But now we have someone who was considered, and I don't want to talk too much about this because I think something could still happen down the road. Somebody who's considered portion of the big debunking movement happening on YouTube towards this hate content. You have someone associated with the group who was going to be a part of something larger down the road, who just did two egregious things very close together: plagiarism and false claiming.
Well, that's very interesting. AirrickDebunks has just let something slip there. He said that their community was planning on doing something big. Now, I'm very curious to know what that big thing was going to be. He says that they were going to do something against the so-called hate content. Now, this is the defamation that I was talking about earlier. This is the worst thing these people do, in my opinion. This is much worse than plagiarism or false flagging. Defamation and trying to get people canceled is much worse than any of all that. As I said earlier, to them, so-called hate content is simply criticizing woke media. Now, for example, if anyone said, hey, I don't like that they blackwash Snape in this new Harry Potter TV series because it's inaccurate to the source material, that makes you a hateful bigot in their eyes. So being the commie activists that they are, they will try to silence you by any means necessary. They will lie and they will call you a racist bigot or whatever to try to cancel and defame you. And that's why I say calling someone a racist bigot is defamation. Their goal is to ruin your life, and they'll try to get you fired from your job and deplatform you. And it all starts with defamation. And that's 1,000,000 times worse than plagiarism or false flagging. That's why I really don't like people like AirrickDebunks or OtterlyNoah. Plagiarism and false flagging is bad enough, but defamation and attempting to ruin people's life and their livelihood is much worse. Continuing.
It just looks bad on all of us. And I can understand why people would feel that way. I get it. As much as I don't like what these channels do and what they stand for and all the stuff that happens with them, there has to be a line that you know, if I cross this, it's going to have a negative effect on more than just me and my channel. And the fact that you, within 2 months, wow, okay. Wrapping all this up, no, I do not condone, certainly not plagiarism. I don't condone that, but strongly disavow and push back against false claims to silence channels. I just do not, it's not something I could ever get behind. I wouldn't want people on the other side doing it. You know what I mean? I wouldn't want, like, if this were the case, then people would just be getting channels shut down every single day. It would just be a back and forth of people just shutting channels down. Like, you can't even have dialogue with stuff like this when it happens. And I'm extremely disappointed because there was a time where we were going to try and do something as a group that was going to change how this discourse exists on YouTube. We were in the early stages of doing something about that, and the fans and everybody that watches our content on Reddit and other places wanted something to happen, and this completely railroaded all of that. The plagiarism stuff, and now this.
Again, he brings up this thing that they were going to do. Whatever it was, I'm sure it was bad. It's evil. So ironically, maybe we should thank OtterlyNoah since basically he stopped them from doing that. Or at least he pushed it back.
I think Noah truly understands how much harm he has done to the debunking community by engaging in this sort of stuff. And I honestly think anybody in the community who wants to retain any of their credibility at all should speak out against this and make sure that they're saying, I don't agree with this. This is not something I condone. I think it's really important for everyone to make sure that you actually speak out about it. It's crazy.
So, overall, I give AirrickDebunks a tiny bit of credit here, since he did condemn OtterlyNoah's plagiarism and false flagging, and he also disavowed him. However, he seems to be doing so for selfish reasons. He's only condemning OtterlyNoah because if he doesn't, he's afraid that it would make him look bad, and by extension, his community look bad. This community's reputation was bad to begin with, so this changes nothing. AirrickDebunks, OtterlyNoah, and their entire, what they call, debunking community are just all evil pieces of shit to me, and I'm sure they think the same about me. Anyway, that's about it for this video. I'm Alpha Eagle. Be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. God bless you for watching. God bless America. And I pray that AirrickDebunks, OtterlyNoah, and all the other people in the so-called debunking community come to their senses and realize that they are the bad guys.